Let's move on to the main card of UFC 241 coming up this weekend in Anaheim, and it's a stacked fucking card. First fight is going to be a middleweight bout between Derek Brunson and Ian Heinisch. Ian Heinisch is a guy who actually trains right up the road from me. I live in Colorado, near Denver, and he trains out of Factory X Muay Thai. Really Colorado state champion wrestler. I think he got into some trouble with the law, got arrested, that turned his life around. I don't know the whole story behind it, but he's looked impressive so far. So he kind of broke onto the scene when he got a win over Justin Sumter in the Dana White Contender Series. Got a first round knockout, ground and pound knockout. Looked really good. His wrestling was sharp, his boxing sharp. And then he goes into he makes his UFC debut against Cesar Ferreira, wins a unanimous decision. Looked good in that fight. You know, Ferreira is a guy who has good jiu-jitsu. You know, he's good at everything. He's a veteran. And got a dominant victory there. And then he goes and he fights Antonio Carlos Jr. Now, this was a close fight. I could see how you could score it for either guy, but regardless, Antonio Carlos Jr. is no fucking joke. His ground game is very good. And Heinisch was able to pick up a win, man. I thought it was questionable, like I said. I don't know who I would have gave it to if I scored it, but fuck, man. Heinisch, he's good. And he can wrestle. But he's going to be fighting Derek Brunson. And Derek Brunson is a guy who has a lot of experience over some top-level guys like Robert Whittaker, Jacare Souza, Lyoto Machida. Granted, I mean, he's lost to a lot of top guys at 185 as well, but he's very wild with the strikes sometimes, man. He overextends on stuff, and that makes me nervous against a wrestler like Heinisch. I also think that Derek Brunson is a guy that you could categorize as an emotional fighter. Like, if you look on his face, you can kind of tell the mood that he's in during a fight. It's not just like this straight game face. Like, you can read emotions on his face during the fight, and I think it impacts how he reacts to things. I'd like to see him get a little more like precise, a little more calculated, and not reach for things so often. He also has he'll go head hunting, man. And when you're facing a wrestler, if you overextend on stuff, that opens up opportunities for them to shoot on you. So this is a tough fucking fight. This is a tough fight to pick because, like, what I've seen from Heinisch on the feet, he's good, but if him and Derek Brunson get into a striking match, I think Brunson has a chance to knock him the fuck out. And Brunson has he's got a wrestling background. Like, he should be able to stuff some of the takedowns, you know? It's not like he doesn't know how to grapple. So, man, I've been going back and forth on this fight. I think this is one of the harder fights to pick on the card just because Brunson does have so much experience against high-level competition. And if he can go in there against a guy who's an up-and-comer and maybe approach it with a different attitude, you might see a more full and a more complete Derek Brunson. But I don't know, man. If he gets wild, he might get taken down. I think I'm going to go with Brunson. I think Brunson's going to be able to catch him and knock him out at some point. I really do. I think that the striking will play into his hands at some point in the fight. But he's got to be careful not to overextend. He has to stay precise. Like, he has to stay calculated. He has to stay. He can't be just winging punches at this guy and getting taken down and trapped on the ground and not being able to get back to his feet and wasting time. It's only a 3-round fight, you know. That being said, like, you got to be careful whenever you try to change your game plan like that because you don't want to take away the things that he's good at. Like, he obviously has power. He has the ability to knock you out. So, like I said, just dial it back a little bit. Dial back the crazy. Dial back the emotion a little bit. Just draw it in. I think he'll have a good fight this fight, though. I think this is a great fight for him. He's coming off a win over Elias Theodoro, who has an awkward style and not an easy win to pick up. So I think he'll be riding some confidence, and I think he's going to look good. But if he does get emotional and he does start overextending on things, look for the takedown and look for Ian Heinisch to have a good night. I wouldn't want to bet on this fight, but sorry, I just got this mic, so I'm keep adjusting and shit and trying to figure out where I want it. But yeah, I wouldn't bet on this fight, but if I was gonna place money, I'd probably put it on Brunson.